Put my finger up for 1 more minute when you have 1 minute left, and 5 when you have 5 seconds left. And then I will, unfortunately, need to cut folks off if they go longer. And when you get up, please share your name as well as your district. And finally, we are requiring that everyone, per our rules, speak to a specific proposal. So if you can say which proposal you're speaking to, that would really help us. All right, the first person I have on my list is Joshua Satterfield.
Test. Good afternoon. I am not a resident of Pierce County. I'm a resident of King County, but I'm just on the other side of the line. I would like to talk about C1 and C30. I know C1's not on the list for tonight, but it seems to be very important for most people that are here. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you are gaining attention not just here locally in the county, not just in King County or Thurston. You're getting attention across the country. I don't know if you've noticed that. I'm getting questions from people that I've worked with in the past that are working with people in DC, in the Supreme Court, and people are asking me, just a normal person, questions that lives here. I think it's getting a little extreme when people are starting to notice and question from across the country about the sheriff's situation. And on the sheriff's appointee, so if you have it being appointed, what happens when it shifts away from your perspective?
Thank you. Next is Nicole Weber.
Good evening. Thank you for having it here, Puyallup. My daughter goes to school here, and my son, who's here tonight, is a graduate. I'm living at 17928 Lane East in Puyallup in District 3. Sorry, it used to be 3. It used to be 1, but now it's 3. I'm also the chair of the Land Use Committee here and have been on that committee for over 10 years. And I'm not addressing a specific point of this, but yes.
So all of our public comments do need to be about a specific proposal.
It will be. Yeah. Number one will be about the sheriff for sure, that we need to keep that as an elected position in our county. That has been something that regularly has been the case. Why? Because the people need to speak in our area, just like we're talking about incorporation. That's the first question I get about incorporation, is about if we, and I'm on that committee, that's okay. Is it going to go to the vote of the people? So the same thing goes for the sheriff. We want to vote who's going to take care of our community and know that they're who they are and their background. Now, on the other issues, your website is atrocious and doesn't keep up. Mine with the Southfield Advisory, you can go on, you can find information, you can apply to be on the committee, and we are not finding that. All your amendments, they're not up to date to what we are, as the public, having a time to even know what to talk about. And that to me is a problem. My committee has to have all the agenda, everything on before the meeting. So it's atrocious. I also ran for this commission or for this charter, and I just ask you to slow down a bit so that we can have time to talk about what you're even talking about, because it's so off the wall.
Thank you. Joshua Ames. Oh, Jonathan Ames, sorry. Thank you.
So my name is Jonathan Ames. I'm in District 3. I see that there is the desire to create a youth council. And given the climate of Washington State, I just am curious if this council is going to be focused on sexual education. A lot of the times in this state, as is pretty common and popular these days, we're only focusing on the positives of alternative lifestyles. I'm wondering if there is going to be guidance to these kids about the dangers of these alternative lifestyles, such as the fact that gay men are triple the rate, they're likely to have triple the rate of fecal incontinence as they age due to that lifestyle. They are, as of 2008, they were 1.65% of the population and were 63% of the new syphilis cases, a disease that had pretty much been eradicated. Gay men, per the CDC, are 200 times more likely to be diagnosed with HIV than the general population. They're 17 times more likely to have anal cancer than heterosexuals. And 43% of homosexual
Point of
adults admit
order.
to being molested as children.
How does, point of order,
Can you please share your point?
how does this relate to the youth council question?
Yeah, I think I made that clear. I am concerned about Washington State's pro-homosexual stance. And if we are having a youth council here, I want to make sure there's the counterpoint to that, where they are shown the negative sides of these alternative lifestyles. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Thank you. You can continue.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Alex Rogenkamp? Did I get close? Okay. It's a toss up with me, in all honesty.
My name is Alex Rogenkamp. I'm from District 3, and here I'm talking about C1/C30, whichever feels more applicable. So I'm actually going into a slight history of sheriffs, elective sheriffs, and appointed sheriffs. So the position of sheriff dates back to England in the 900 AD. The sheriff actually used to mean shire, which was county, and then leader, which was reeve, when that you got sheriff from that. So originally in Europe, these were an appointed position. It was not until after the first American Revolution that we changed into an elected position, the more European style of which we got rid of. We fought the British and we gained our right to vote for what we want as citizens. So what I'm here to discuss today is a little bit of the history of this, of we need to be able to vote for our sheriffs. And like was said recently,
Oh, you have 1 minute.
like was said recently, what happens when everyone here and our opinions of whatever is happening right now, when this shifts and no longer are we able to vote on what we want? Now it is someone else that is now appointing a sheriff for us. And we quite literally fought for the right to be able to vote for who is going to be governing us. Not only that, the Washington State, when we were first founded as a state on November 11th of 1889, this was put into the Washington State Constitution of having elected sheriffs. Not only that, but 98% of America as of right now has elected sheriffs. You have 3,083 sheriff positions, and 98% of those are elected. In no way, shape, or form do I believe that Washington State, specifically Pierce County, should be changing what we fought for. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Austin Green?
Test. My name is Austin Green. Other people know me as Huck. I grew up in Pierce County. I went to Rogers High School, so I graduated from this high school, so I'm very familiar with this area. What I want to talk about is C1 and C30, kind of a mixture of that, and touching on a few other the topics. Now, in high school, graduating from high school, getting the right to vote, growing up, I noticed a lot of the voting and the elections were not going the way I believed. And I kind of gave up on voting for a couple of years. Haven't voted for quite a few years until Keith Swank started making waves. He kind of re-enlightened that in me. Seeing a man like that representing someone like me just in, a position like sheriff or any position, right? It really brings back my belief in the system, my belief in voting, my belief in politics as a whole. And seeing people try to take that away, the ability to vote for that kind of stuff is very disheartening. And it kind of, I didn't prepare a speech, sorry guys, but it's very disheartening. And I just wanted to make that, put that out there for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Vicky Burke.
Sorry, I just got a really tough phone call. So, but this is important enough for me to stay. My name is Vicky Burke. I'm in District 2. I'm here to speak on the housing situation here. For many of you people in this area, you may have seen we have a lot of unhoused, but a lot of those people have been forced out of their homes. I have a friend that was in North Everett who made $825 a month on Social Security. Her rent at the mobile home park that she was in going up to $790. You tell me how this woman's supposed to live on that little bit of money herself. She was a single woman by herself, no help. I'm very concerned as we are in an area that seems to have a lot of discriminatory situations for people. There are unfair biases put in place. And I think it's about time that we work hard as a community and show compassion. I've seen a lot of things with, civil rights and anti-discrimination. Residents need an opportunity to purchase that land. They need relocation assistance. The rent increases. We need to put some kind of a limitation. The person I spoke of up in North, her trailer park was bought by someone out of California. And so they're trying to raise it all up to California type prices. I think we need to have some enforcement mechanisms to protect these consumers, or we're going to have more people out on the street. We do not have enough affordable places for people to live. I'm lucky enough to be a LIUNA construction worker and I make a decent wage, but I too almost lost my home as a single mother 20 years ago. So I understand the plight of these people, and I implore you all to have compassion in your hearts. And I'm just one little thing. I'm just really anti-ICE, any of the ICE stuff right now. Just tossing it in.
Thank you. Jeff Jensen.
My name is Jeff Jensen, graduated from Rogers High School in 1982. I live in District 2, Puyallup, and I want to keep the right to vote for the sheriff, not to have government appoint the sheriff. Keep Keith Swank as sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Sue Brayton.
Carol Sue Brayton. I'm against the sheriff ombudsman. The county doesn't need to have the extra costs that what ombudsman would do. We have other ombudsmen that do other things, and this is a cost that would be burdened on the people. I'm for, and so are others, the Veterans Affairs. This is a much needed thing in our county and elsewhere to help our veterans get off the street, to help our veterans find jobs, to help a lot of other things. And it would be a extraordinary benefit to all the people of the community. And this is how others have told me and how they feel. Also, increasing the size of the council to the county council to 9, not at this time. We might wait another 10 years and then make a decision. But those things are forward-looking, not current. We don't know with the current situation what will happen. And also not to increase to 27. 23 is enough. And you've all run through the voting thing, you've done the other, and you also have to have time to speak. And that's important. 3 is enough for the size of our Charter Review Commission. Also to speak on the housing. The housing needs to be directed to the council and to the state legislature. This is an important place where our laws are made and our county ordinances are made, not to the county constitution. Although it's a very important and desperately needed to do issue, it needs to be directed to our legislature and the council. And so I'd ask that that is something that is really not in the Constitution. And so again, back to the ombudsman, we need to keep our sheriff to be able to vote for them and not an ombudsman that would take money away from the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Karas.
Good evening, council. Hello, my name is Matthew. I live in District 3. Previous meetings, I've talked a lot about C30, so I'm not going to talk again about that tonight. I'm pretty sure most of you know my stance on that by now. Today, I want to talk about C27 and housing stability. In particular, the tenants from the Meridian Mobile Estates were severely impacted. They were no longer able to go back to their homes. 42 families had to find alternatives. I want just to picture that for a moment. What would that be like for each member of this council today? If I just say, tomorrow you have to move out of your home. What would that be like for you and your family? 2 years later, the Timberlane Partners still hasn't built any new apartment buildings. Therefore, I strongly support Jen Marie Strickland's amendment proposal C27. I lived in Puyallup, and as a previous Rogers High School graduate, and I've seen the impacts of those who have and those who don't here in Pierce County and Puyallup. Right now, I work at 3 different school districts as a substitute teacher. So I just want to say that when families, youth, and community are without stable housing, their lives are turned upside down. I just want everyone here today to just imagine what would it be like to be wearing another person's shoes, whether we talk about this issue today or whether we're talking about C30. What would it be like if, you were that gay person or you were that immigrant, you were that other person in the room. So I just want you to think about that for a moment. What would that be like? Okay.
Thank you. And if I can please remind folks in the audience, we need to not make any statements for or against anything that anyone else is sharing. Drew James.
Distinguished commissioners, my name is Drew James, and I serve as the state commander for the Veterans of Foreign Wars Department of Washington. I stand before you today representing 22,817 VFW members across this great state who unanimously oppose the proposed charter amendment 9.35. My duty does not stop with our membership roster. I stand here to amplify the voices of the roughly 500,000 veterans who call Washington home, the 52,000 to 56,000 active duty service members training on our installations, and the estimated 90,000 to over 135,000 military dependents who shoulder the weight of military life alongside them. As a veteran, I approach the proposal through the lens of the Army values that guide our entire community: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Those values demand absolute honesty and accountability when it comes to the welfare of our brothers and sisters in arms. True selfless service means putting direct support into the hands of veterans, not building an expensive admin department. While the proposal before you to create a standalone Department of Veteran Services is well-intentioned, it's fundamentally flawed. Out of duty to our community, the 22,817 members I represent urge you to reject this amendment. The integrity requires looking at objective results. The proposal claims we need a new executive department to fix our local system. The math tells a completely different story. Across the state of Washington, the Department of Washington VFW has over 13 dedicated veteran service officers. Look at what a lean focus group of frontline advocates can achieve over the last 6 fiscal cycles without a bloated local government bureaucracy. In 2021, our 13 VSOs filed over 3,400 claims and brought back $14.9 million directly to Washington veterans. By 2024, that number skyrocketed, bringing back $52.5 million in a single year. In our current ongoing cycle, we've already brought back $17.7 million. Our 6-year total, 21,166 claims filed, bringing $167,241,007.42 directly into veterans' pockets.
Thank
So
you.
with this,
So
hold on.
no,
What do
we
you have?
only give everyone 2 minutes. So thank you very much for sharing. Thank you. Eric Lundberg.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Eric Lundberg here, District 2. I have a few concerns on a few different proposals. Number one is C37, and I just see this riddled with progressive agenda. Pierce County taxpayers are tired of paying for people who have no right to be here. It creates unneeded conflict between local and federal authorities. This is actually, I believe, exploiting those who are in sanctuary cities and areas for political gain, slap citizens in the face, and the only ones who benefit are the political leaders. We need to reform our citizenship process before we carry out anything listed in C37. C34, I believe we need to keep the county council at the current number of members, especially in this political climate. This could require redistricting, gerrymandering, and we don't need the extra conflict. C21, I'm very much in favor of. We must protect the referendum process and remove any and all emergency clauses. This is an authoritarian tactic that Olympia uses to silence the citizens and take away their right to vote, and we cannot allow this at this level. Removing the vote is what kings do, and we do not want kings. C29, I don't believe that the charter is a place to create these type of committees where we're electing executives or appointing executives and doing all these things. That needs to be at the council level, and it seems this is just trying to push another agenda. P14, which I know is not on the agenda tonight, at least what I saw, is changing the preamble to add environmental issues. I don't know, to me it's kind of embarrassing that this would even come up, because the preamble, the charter is for the people. It is not for the land that we are in charge of stewarding and we are in charge of taking care of. So those are my thoughts on those. Thanks.
Thank you. Cynthia Bacon. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All right. Steve Enderly. Ah, right.
Very close. Thank you. Steve Anderly, District 2. Been a resident of Pierce County for 35 years. I wanted to speak tonight and voice my support for C40, the executive pro tempore vacancies in office. I think this is perhaps one of the most important issues before the commission in this cycle. This amendment provides a strong framework for elected, appointed, and nonpartisan positions, and I believe it should be given strong consideration. I also wanted to voice my support for C30, the Sheriff's Ombudsman amendment. This is an important oversight and accountability measure that needs to be presented to the people, or at least give them a choice to vote for this particular item. And lastly, I wanted to speak in favor of let's see, C-34, increasing the size of the council. Increasing the size of the council and the Charter Commission would provide better representation for areas in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin Miller.
Yeah, I'm Martin Miller. I want to thank you guys all for your service. I served on the Eatonville Planning Commission for 5 years. I'm currently a candidate for the House of Representatives in the 2nd District. And I've served the community out here for so far 42 years and counting as a power lineman with both Tacoma Power and some of the contractors. Anyway, I'm here to give you guys a little history lesson. I'm old now, but I remember when we had an appointed sheriff back in the 70s and 80s. I personally witnessed one of the people that had been murdered in that crime spree underneath Spanaway Lake in a blue Volvo floating there. The lake had frozen over and we were able to polish the ice and look down and see him, floating there. It was gruesome. They burned the Back 40 Tavern and other buildings. A gentleman I knew was the arsonist. And anyway, with an elected sheriff, they don't have to answer to whoever is in charge of the county council or the county executive. And right now, it's a Democrat, but that could change. And then there could be a Republican in there and they could pick whoever they want. At least now with the elected sheriff, the people have a choice. Every 4 years, you can either keep the sheriff you like, or you can replace him. And so I speak not only for myself, but for, literally hundreds of people who are interested in this subject, that I strongly urge you to keep the elected sheriff.
Thank you. Again, if I can please remind folks that we don't allow clapping or any sort of encouragement or discouragement of anybody's testimony. Thank you. Brenda Breshnam.
My name is Brenda Bresnahan, and I live in Ording, 705 Washington Avenue, Southeast District 1. We want our right to vote for our sheriff. We also want to keep Keith Swink as our sheriff. I feel like your behavior is that of a hypocrite when you all have your positions voted for. Be careful what you wish for. What goes around comes around. And you could someday be taken out by a higher authority and another appointed. Then where will that take us to? A dictatorship? Or maybe that's what people want.
Thank you. Emily Anderson.
My name is Emily Anderson, District 1, and I stand here tonight backed by Pierce County citizens who are waking up to how this commission operates. RCW 4.30.010 explicitly mandates the people of this state do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies which serve them, and declares that all political power is inherent to the people. We do not yield our sovereignty to you, you answer to us. Yet this commission has shown a clear agenda to exclude the public and ignore our voice, voting down C-22 and C-38. Your agenda is clear when we look at what you choose to fast track versus what you choose to ignore. You already have a proposal in the hopper for the final consideration to strip the people of the right to vote, turning our elected sheriff into an appointed position. You're actively trying to take away our voting power. Meanwhile, you have yet to introduce proposed amendment P2, which demands proof of citizenship for voting. This pattern of ignoring the public started at your very first meeting on January 14th, before a single one of you took a legal oath. Attorney Michelle Luna cleared the room, and an unsworn Martha Lance struck the gavel to force a secret executive session. No oath, no public motion. This is a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act under RCW 98.80.010. That is official misconduct. The very conduct that C40 would remove you from office at the time of an accusation is made. To the audience and everyone watching at home, one person standing up can expose this agenda, but together we hold the real power. We demand an immediate stop to these meetings until the secret executive session is made public in a centralized location where all the updated proposed amendments can be found in one spot without having a link to a prior meeting packet. This demand should be taken serious, and as there are serious consequences to your unethical behaviors. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Ian Armstrong.
Ian Armstrong, District 7. Just going to ask that you don't interrupt me. I don't honestly care what you have to say. So last week, you guys voted down C38, and I just want to say that that is incredibly shameful, and quite frankly is just makes it clear where you guys are standing on, where some of you guys are standing on just life in general. Something that I don't think that anybody has thought about. The biggest problem with the sheriff's amendment with C1 is that it is literally taking emotions and turning emotions into politics. And C38 was very clear that we could no longer do that if it was brought to through the full process, if it was ratified. So with C38, you'd have to have the supermajority, which means that you would have to have the ability to convince everybody that it needs to happen, which is exactly how we founded this country. We don't have a constitution that gets changed with the winds and opinions. We have a constitution that gets changed with everybody coming together and saying, hey, this needs to happen. And when you struck down C38 last week, you struck down bringing that back to the local government, to county government, which is how we should be running our local constitution, our county constitution. And it is shameful for everybody who voted that down. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment in the room for, okay. Looks like we have one more.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Rose, District 4. I want to start by saying I am just going to call Democrats, Democrats, and Republicans, Republicans. If that's what you are, that's what I'm talking about. I don't really care if you identify as unincorporated. It's disingenuous. The 9 Republicans on this commission didn't like my dynamic representation amendment because it didn't give their voters special treatment. I don't know why you feel you deserve special treatment because you're not special. The Democrats didn't like it because they want a 9-person council so that Amendment P.
So I'm going to pause. Point of order. What is your point?
We are a nonpartisan body.
6 out of 9
and
commissioners.
So please, can you hold your comment? Can you?
This is not pertinent to anything that we are doing or the way that we were formed.
All right. So I take your point well taken. We do need to speak to a specific proposal that's before us right now.
Madam Chair, speaking to Amendment P7, which I authored, and this is absolutely pertinent. 6 out of the 9 Republicans here are running for office as Republicans. You are Republicans. That being said, the Democrats didn't like it because they want a 9-person council so they can get their supermajority. God forbid we should make the system fair. My IRV amendment, I didn't even try for. People say it's too expensive. We already spent the money on it 10 years ago. Why was it rolled back again? Oh, because we elected a candidate who wasn't qualified. Funny thing, I could have sworn I heard somebody say it didn't matter if candidates were qualified if they were elected. What I think happened is that the people of Pierce County made it clear they would rather elect an idiot than a Democrat or a Republican, which is terrible if you're a Democrat or Republican. I understand why you oppose it, and I promise I'm getting to the point. I understand why you oppose it, but it would have been fair. With all that's going on in our country right now, I don't understand how you managed to kill a gerrymandering bill a couple of weeks ago, but you did. It would have made it harder to get your supermajority for the Democrats, and then the Republicans wouldn't have been able to complain about it, but it would have been fair, which brings me to my point. I believe I see a trend, and that is that the vast majority of people on this commission really would prefer an unfair system if they can use the unfairness to against their political opponents. I have an amendment P7 on the agenda tonight about campaign finance. It should be a bipartisan slam dunk. I think money in politics is something we all hate. We have people who speak regularly about George Soros. But the problem is, I'm not sure that there are 4 people on this commission with the integrity to push that on to next week. I invite you to make me eat those words. And if you do, then I can tell you next week about Commissioner O'Leary and his tree farm.
Thank you. All right, that concludes public comment in the room for this evening. On to public comment online. For anyone who is online, please raise your hand. And you will also have 2 minutes. Please share your name and district and the proposal that you'll be speaking to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will just call them out as I see them on the screen. First, we have Carl. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Is Carl able to unmute on his own or on their own? I'm not sure. Carl, we unfortunately can't hear you. Are there any other hands? Maybe we can come back to Carl at the end.
Next, we have Gloria Garcia. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, everybody. Gloria Garcia, District 4. I'd like to speak about the issue of the sheriff elected versus appointed. The problem with the situation as it is right now is that our sheriff is not abiding by the oath he took when he promised to follow Washington laws, and he's openly discriminating against transgender people and also legal immigrants. I'm not even talking about illegal immigrants, legal immigrants that are authorized to work. He stated that he would not hire them. He's unilaterally imposing a standard that is against Washington law and federal law, frankly. So as a result, with his rhetoric against transgender people and immigrants, he's creating a hostile work environment for everybody that reports to him, which is 25% of the county employees that we have. He took that oath and then he got elected. We thought he was going to follow that oath, and then he turns around and he completely violates it. And the problem with that is, if with EEO cases, you can pay per person, per incident, up to, actually unlimited compensatory damages, because it all depends on how much they lost. And on top of that, $300,000 in pecuniary damages per person, per incident. Now, he's not going to pay for that. We're going to pay for that. We, the people. That is unfair, and it needs to be addressed immediately. Why am I doing this on a weekly basis? I'm putting you guys on notice that he is breaking the law, because there's going to be attorneys coming around, and they're going to be requesting the minutes of these meetings, and they're going to use me bringing this to your attention as proof.
Thank you. That is at 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
We'll try to go back to Carl now. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Carl, it looks like you're muted. I see that you're unmuted, Carl, but unfortunately we still can't hear you. So maybe we can try to go to the next. And Carl, if you don't mind, maybe logging off and logging you back on to see if that helps.
Next, we have, sorry if I get your name wrong. Zephra B. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you. Zephra is correct. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
All right, so I'm Zephra. I live in Hilltop neighborhood of Tacoma in District 27. I'm here to comment on a couple of tonight's amendment proposals. First of all, I'd like to say that I support increasing the size of the county council and the Charter Review Commission. Adding members to the council ensures that the residents of Pierce County are appropriately represented. There are 925,000 people in Pierce County, so I don't think that 9 county council members is an unreasonable ask. And to sit on the Charter Review Committee is an important task. Like your decisions on updating policy and procedure decide the direction for the county for the next 10 years. And for that reason, it's important to have as many perspectives in the room so that you can arrive at the most fair and accurate version of our county charter. And second, I'd like to voice support for the establishment of a sheriff ombudsman. Sheriff Swank's behavior in the office has been deeply alarming. It has been unprofessional. It has been an embarrassment to our county. He said that he heard a voice of God that told him to run for sheriff, but I don't know if it was God he truly heard because I don't see God's love reflected in his behavior. Through his hateful remarks and by inviting masked armed men who can arrest without warrant or oversight into our communities, he has eroded the already shaky public trust in law enforcement. Establishing an ombudsman would help restore some faith in this office and ensure that residents of Pierce County have some recourse should someone like Swank ever be elected again. The sheriff's office needs oversight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Corey Carson. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Yes, hello. This is Corey Carson. I'm from District 1. I wish to speak in favor of C34 to increase the size of the council. Voter dilution will bring representation down to nearly half as it was in 1981. Back then, it was about 1 rep per 70,000. If we do nothing, we're staring down 1 rep per 140,000 or so, depending, of course, on where the census results actually land. This also speaks nothing of the variety of demographics now in our county. Where I'm at, our town is quite under 1% of the population for 1 representative. If we expand to 9, we'd be much closer to 1% of our district's reps constituents. So if we want our Fairfax Bridge fixed, 1% is still a long shot at getting county attention, but I take the improvement over much less than 1%. Speaking of costs, this is still a tiny fraction of the budget from last week's meeting. 0.03% was what I heard at the upper end. This is what we pay our taxes for. Doing the right thing means doubling the doubling the council size. So I argue expanding to 9 is a moderate compromise.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jeff Winter. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Oh, yes, Madam Chair, Jeff Winter, District 5, here to speak on Proposal C1. But first, I'd like to acknowledge Emily Anderson and her effort to look into the rule of law that this commission is supposed to abide by and the apparent maladministration by this commission. For too long, the people have allowed our government to do as it pleases, and when confronted with the truth, plausibly deny any wrongdoing. It is because the American people are waking up to their rights, and by a broad diffusion of knowledge, that plausible deniability will cease to be a viable excuse by those who took the oath to uphold our rights. Thank you, Emily, for your diligence. And now I'd like to talk about the unconstitutional proposal to take away our right to elect our chief law enforcement officer, the sheriff. Washington State Constitution, Section 30, rights reserved. The enumeration in this Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny others retained by the people. It is because inherent rights are enumerated that the declared rights within the 50 state constitutions belong to all of us and are reserved out of the general powers of government. The 1838 Florida State Constitution, Section 26, that a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is absolutely necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty. Section 27, and that to guard against transgressions upon the rights of the people, we declare that everything in this article is accepted out of the general powers of government and forever shall remain inviolate, and that all the laws contrary thereto or to the following provisions shall be void. If this commission chooses to move forward with this proposed amendment, I promise that this is a battle you cannot win in a real court as seen in Section 3 of our declared rights in Article 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have Anna Burt. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Anna Burt here in Legislative District 2, unincorporated Pierce County. So I was going to talk, I'll talk about C30 a little bit. I think we should reject that and keep our sheriff's office focused on public safety instead of more red tape. I don't believe we should get a board to figure out what the sheriffs should do, should and should not do with their job. Because honestly, it took Pierce County a year and a half to come up with a contract to work with Pierce County sheriffs. And in that time, it actually has hurt them and honestly public safety to where other local jurisdictions like Washington State Patrol to come in and help out local calls and such that needed to be handled. I also want to speak on C1. I am a firm believer in voting for our right as a legal U.S. citizen here in Washington State. We should be able to vote for our own sheriffs. I don't think that should be taken away, especially when the county council played politics for a year and a half. I believe that we should have a say in our elected sheriffs. Just like you were elected for your position, the elected sheriff should have his position elected as well and not be taken away because of politics and how people feel. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe that is the end of.
Do you want to try to go back to Carl?
Sure. Carl, are you there?
Carl, if you're with us, please raise your hand.
Oh.
There you go.
Carl, I see that you're unmuted. Unfortunately, we still can't hear you in the room tonight. So hopefully, if you'd like to submit written public comment, just so we can make sure to hear what you wanted to share with us. Thank you so much for calling in, but unfortunately, we just can't hear you. Right, so I believe that concludes public comment for tonight. And I realize I skipped past the report out on written public comment. So clerk, if you don't mind sharing written public comment.